Is it a good idea to believe in something, healthy delusions, like karma or life after death? That's any wall socket. Well, there is a whole line of social psychology that was very popular about 15 years ago. In fact, the most cited social psychological paper ever written was about the necessity of positive illusions. You know, the basic hypothesis was life was so tragic and dismal that unless you bolstered yourself against it with, you know, defensible optimism, I suppose, if you were being charitable, or just positive illusions, lies is what I think they are, that life would actually be intolerable. And I think that's an unbelievably nihilistic and vicious philosophy. I think the fact that that was actually seriously put forward by a generation of social psychologists as a medication for the modern disease of meaning, is an absolute indictment of the entire field. No, there's nothing about illusions that are healthy. But that doesn't mean that cynicism and despair are forms of truth, or that nihilism is a form of truth. There's no such thing as healthy delusions. Now, you know, any wall socket says, like karma. Well, I don't know if karma is a healthy delusion, and I'm not so sure about. I mean, there's some elements of karma that I think are extremely interesting from a psychological perspective, and we can scrap the reincarnation element of it because well, for obviously, at least for the sake of simplicity, but I believe in karma. I think that no one gets away with anything ever. I think every single thing you do that is immoral, because an immoral thing is an attempt to warp the structure of reality. Everything you do that's immoral comes back to haunt you, and it generally comes back in multiplied form. Now, that doesn't mean you'll be able to draw the causal connections. Like, you might have done something immoral, who knows, 5 years ago, and that produced like a crack in the structure of your being, and like it's 5 years later and all sorts of things are falling into that crack, and you have no idea that that initial act was what produced this, you know, cascading consequence of events. But that doesn't mean it didn't. So